Hey, you guys! How is everyone doing today? I am actually, I believe, on time, which is huge and new, and actually not new, but last time I kind of almost overslept. So just waiting for our fabulous guest at Sunil Menon to join, and I hope everyone has been having a good Sunday. I have, in fact, I slept a whole lot, thank heavens. I really needed it. I was so this week has been tough. It's not just work. I mean, you all know how emotionally draining this time is. Good to see you, Chidarth. Sunil, of course, is here, but Sunil, I want a few more people to join. Anushka, hi. Vinu, hi. Hi, Piyush. How are you doing? Good to see you. Today my costume is nice, is it? Thank you, thank you. I thought I'd wear white. I do so much black, and I've been recently trying to do a little more color, and I thought I'd do a little good girl hairdo today. And Vision in Red, I would love to know your real name. You look beautiful in your DPs, so it's lovely to see you. Sunil Menon is going to join us shortly. All good, Piyush? Good to hear. Hemant, hi. I'm glad we have been popping out the stories. I had put the story up yesterday. Sunil's been putting it up as well. And we are super excited. Thank you, Anushka. Thank you so much. We've been super excited to bring you episode 3 because the whole topic on gender identity has just become so viral, and hearing from someone who's actually been on the ground and embodies those values is of course huge. Oh, that Shivani, thank you so much. Oh, I love fans because fans are family, right? Okay, so Raghavan, hi. We will try a group chat. So guys, before I invite Sunil, I am going to let you guys know we will be taking questions, of course, so I would like you all to stay throughout the session. I know you guys like to pop on and off, check out other stuff, but we're going to be talking about something really, really important today, and something that has not been given enough attention in the Indian context. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take Sunil's request, and he's uber excited. Stefan, hi, good to see you. When are you putting me in your clothes is the question. I have lost like 12 kilos. Hey!
Hey, is this okay? I'm just trying to, yeah.
No, I got 4 requests from you, but I had to make you wait as...
No. I just wanted to see because I just want to check myself. Yeah, okay.
Okay, no, you look fabulous. You look fabulous, and we have so many people. It's so exciting, but I just wanted to give everyone a chance to join and get warmed up before you and I usually get started at like 100 miles an hour, and by the time people catch up, they don't really know what we're talking about. So I just wanted to do a little intro, and for those who are joining us, I mean, this is episode 3, but a little bit of a recap. Sunil and I came together to talk about embracing identity, which is a topic that both of us are extremely passionate about. Him being the, how shall I call him? The epitome of actual, having really done the work in terms of embracing gender identity, having done so himself and helping so many other people do it along the way. I, in a small way, have tried to embrace my identity as well in my own journey. So that's how we came together in episode 1, and we thought that would be that, but it turned out that things went viral. The love that you guys showered on us and on him especially, given the work and the passion with which he goes about things, has just been overwhelming. So we're now well into episode 3, and we're going to keep it going till as long as you guys want to hear about it. So Sunil, shall we jump in to the burning topic that we had for the day? So I'm going to go ahead and announce it. So then you can away with what we had talked about. So guys, as we had spoken about, embracing gender isn't easy anywhere in any part of the world, and especially India is extremely challenging. So further down that line, I wanted Sunil to share his thoughts and his firsthand experiences with gender reassignment and what that actually entails, whether it is woman to man, man to woman. Sunil, I'll let you take it away at this point and let us really know what that entails and what the problems are and why is it an issue and what is the state of affairs here in India with gender reassignment.
So I I'll start from the beginning, like my journey in the 90s, early
Please.
90s, and how the concept of gender reassignment surgery or sex reassignment surgery was not available. I mean, the facilities were not there in the early 90s. So most trans women, so I would primarily talk about trans women when uh, individuals born male wish to transition and live a life as a woman, as female, and then they want to transition from male to female. So when you most of the trans women in those years, the early years of my work, even obviously predating to me, and what was traditionally seen was the you saw the Hijra community going through very traditional ways of surgery that was done either by the older matriarchs of the family, which was it was like a ritual. It was done without any medical intervention. They did it themselves. Um,
I have a
just to
question.
say,
I have a
yeah.
question. I know it's a little early, but wait, I mean, when you say no medical intervention, what about anesthesia? Are we talking about like an actual surgery? Like, what are you talking about? You need to tell me. Like,
So okay, that doesn't exist. So that's a very gory. That's a very. It's very hard to explain, and it'll take some time. But just to give you an idea, that the Hijra community, being a matriarchal clan, where once you go into into a particular clan, a family, and say you get adopted as a daughter, the mother, the grandmother, and all the older women in the family decide on a certain date when the ritual will be conducted, where the emasculation of the uh, daughter is done so that she becomes formally a woman and is inducted into the clan. So there's a process for it. It's a long process to it, and it is in the earlier days. It was done within the community. It was all hush hush. Uh, needless to say, there has been mortality and issues, health issues around those surgeries. But then, because the Hijra community lived on the fringes, they were completely disenfranchised and with absolutely no access to medical care in the early 80s and the 80s and all that. It was very tough for them to even walk into a hospital and access healthcare. So all that changed. So with activism and groups coming up and realizing this is a major crisis and an obstacle, because we were looking at HIV as one of the main epidemics that are going to decimate the population or the community. It was just spreading and it was scary. So we had to get in there, start working with the community, and we enrolled them, we trained them. So what we found out was that there had to be some sort of you had to move away from this traditional system of surgery, and they came up with this strange alternative. Quacks and um, paramedical staff in a hospital, they would tie up with some strange clinic or hospital somewhere, and they would go there, and the surgery was done with anesthesia, of course,
Sunil,
and done by.
sorry, I'm going to ask you to adjust your screen a little because you're getting cut off. I'm just going to, yeah, because people need to see
So
you. Can
okay,
you just come down a little? Yeah, because I mean,
I'm down. This is okay.
yeah, can you go if you a little bit down because we really do want to hear and see you completely. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah,
Okay.
stay there.
So then, once they started going to this paramedical or staff, obviously somebody who worked under a doctor in a clinic who knew about anesthesia and all that, and then they would do these surgeries in the at late night when the clinic was closed, there was no hospital, there was nobody around, it was all clandestine, it was all illegal. Those days it was completely illegal. Sex reassignment surgery was, and it was just an emasculation process. There was no expertise. It was just literally removing the male genitals. At that point, it was just that. It was
Okay.
as basic and primitive, if I could use that word. Uh, this It was just the removal of the male genitals because the individual just wanted to live as a woman and didn't want to be living with the male genitals. So then they went through this whole process, and for us as activists, we realized that there were so many implications from a health angle, lots of complications health-wise, everything, right from getting septic and lot of infections, urine being an issue, not being able to pass urine normally. These are basic stuff that came up, and it was just a nightmare just trying to deal with it. So then the government, Tamil Nadu government, was clear that they just had to intervene, and then we had to go the medical way. And then they set up a team, the government hospital in Chennai set up a team where plastic surgeon was involved and went the bank, like the Thailand or Bangkok model of sex reassignment surgery, where female genitalia was recreated from existing male genitalia. So from male to female, the transitioning was a little better. Of course, I guess at that point, a lot of the doctors were new to the subject, plastic surgeons, endocrinologists. A lot of people had to be involved in this.
Right.
So it was multidisciplinary.
It's much more than just an aesthetic process. It's you
correct.
Actually
so there was it was extremely complicated, and it had to be a series of doctors sitting together with series of sessions, medication, all that, observation and all that. So those trans women who had the money would could save up and fly to Bangkok, would do their surgery in Bangkok. So towards the end, what you saw, because they could earn money and save enough to just head to Bangkok and get the surgery done the proper medical way. And even to date, trans women travel from Europe and America to Thailand because they have it down to a science. It's extremely meticulous.
Really?
The whole package. Yes.
Why Thailand?
Because I think the biggest trans community lives in Thailand, and they the showgirls, the entertainers, and they work in mainstream spaces also.
Are they very
a lot more
in Thailand? Are they very enfranchised or not? So
they have a lot more. See, it's interesting. They're very visible. People are accepting. It's not. They're not shocked or they're not upset. I mean, it's regular. You'll see them everywhere. You take the tram, you take the bus, you're traveling. They're everywhere. Like you walk into a shop, the store girl would be a trans person, the cashier could be a trans person. They're all over. So they've literally mainstreamed into the population and all that. But what is interesting, they don't have a third gender option, which India has. Like a lot of trans women in India have the option for opting for a third gender, an other, not male, female, not sticking to the male, female, in their passport, in their ID card. So there's a transgender option in India available.
Wow, I didn't know that.
So it's interesting, like, you would think Thailand is way ahead of the rest of the world, and, they're the most accepting and empowered society in the sense when it comes to trans women, and that we were up ahead. So what is interesting is that you have these options on paper, on government certification, on government what social entitlement cards, like whether it's your PAN card, whether it's your Aadhaar card, or is it your ration card, all these have options. So which is huge, the impact of that is that it is so liberating, and it's like finally the Indian mindset will change. We're hoping that in the long run that is what we're expecting to happen. So surgeries have moved. Coming back to the surgery part, what happens is you see that now there are hospitals in India, like where people opt for. In Bangalore, there are doctors who are doing it very well. Chennai already has doctors and hospitals dealing with it, and then in Kerala and Cochin also, I believe there are good teams working on this very delicate and sensitive topic and issue. And in fact, it's one of the most complicated surgeries, I would imagine, because it is multidisciplinary. There are 3-4 departments that will be involved into before they actually can sit down and decide whether the person is capable of undergoing that surgery. See, it's the implications on.
Permission needed. As long as you're not a minor, you can opt for it. But this is considered elective surgery, correct? So it would
Yes,
never
and
be
it.
insurance. It would never be supported by a third party. It would never be supported by the government. Like what are the no, and what we wanted to get into later is it being done by actual doctors, or is it still being practiced by people who are.
No, no. Now it's completely legal. It's legit. Everything is done properly. Every hospital, I mean, most states, there'll be at least one center where the trans community will go for their surgery and the whole transitioning process. So that, so I know Cochin, Bangalore, Chennai, these three cities in the south. I can't talk for the cities in the north and how well equipped they are, but we've had success stories in the south that way. But what you see is, even though these are there, the issue is how patient are we when we go through the whole complete process. So usually a trans person comes in for counseling.
Right.
Under one, and they say in the US, basically abroad, they ask you for 1 year of psychiatric evaluation where the psychiatrist decides and is confirmed and convinced that this individual can go through and can live the life of a trans person and is not doing it on a whim. And it's not like doing it because of various other reasons, So you have to. So the doctors need to give certification saying, usually it's a psychiatrist who certifies saying, yes, this person is trans, and then this person, should be allowed to go through the transitioning. But I don't know how much of that is happening in India, because to my knowledge, it's really, it's what you call fast tracked, It's, I think in a month's time, in 2 months' time, everything is in place, and then they're going back and forth. And I think by the third month, you've done with your surgery. It's kind of like faster and picking up.
Surgery be pre-op, post-op, and if it were done the legitimate way under proper regulation, how expensive? I'm just curious because I don't know.
Like from my friends in Cochin, what I've learned, they spend like 1.5 lakh for the surgery.
That's that's manageable, no? That's a manageable cost.
It's manageable, but if you're a trans person, that's really expensive. For somebody who's on the fringes and is dependent on no main regular income, your income is sex work or any other smaller thing. You're not a qualified person. So, but now there are success stories of a few trans women in India who have gone through the surgery properly because they come from educated affluent backgrounds where they've been completely supported by the parents and the family, and they've had a proper transitioning. So it's a very holistic way of doing it. They've taken their time. The family's gone through I'm sure the family's gone through the counseling. Everyone's prepared to accept the child as a trans person, and through the transitioning process, they're all with that individual. So it's been that's the way to go. And I know of one trans woman who's got her company to cover her surgery expenses because she's very high up in the company and very forward-thinking organization, so MNCs that have actually covered her costs in insurance and I think in employment benefit. I know how it works, but then the company, apparently it's not insurance, but the company has covered some of her medical expenses, and they gave her 6 months off. Her parents came and stayed with her. I think she did the surgery in Bombay.
Yeah, no, I saw some of the darker, because this is what we touched upon the last time. In the sense, the darker side of this, because I know that there are a lot of, the desperation with which they want to transition, they don't often find the right resources and often end up going to people who are not qualified to even do a surgery. So, can you share some of your stories and some of like...
One story that really hit home was when I lost my own staff member. So only boy in the house, only earning member, only graduate, 2 elder sisters married off, father's an auto driver, and Satya was a graduate working for us as a full-time employee,
Wow.
BA psychology, and very intelligent, very smart kid. And much to our dismay, he was very clear that he wanted to transition and become trans and go away from home and live life with the trans community and be on her own, so to speak. So she went to this quack. So in those days, this is a time when there were no hospitals doing it.
She was already working at Sahodran at this time, or not?
Yes,
Okay.
he was. He that time working full time for us, And when she wanted to transition, she took two of her friends with her. They went to, I think the place is Dindigul or Kadapa. The two very obscure places that they go to. And because I think Satya was on hormone pills or something, she had an accelerated heartbeat. And the moment they gave her anesthesia, she had a heart attack and died on the table. They didn't touch her.
What?
Yeah. So it was, and she was dressed as a woman. She was in female attire and she had gone for the surgery. And the two friends with her panicked because the other two also wanted to do surgery. So three of them went together saying, three of us will do surgery together. Okay. And Satya was administered. So this is in the night. This is not daytime or anything. This is at night.
Yeah.
And they went to this clinic, was this compounder or whoever he was, male nurse who knew what he was doing and how they have their resources and they know how to go there. And what happened was there was a convulsion. So the other friend said that there was a convulsion and then Satya just, had a cardiac arrest on the table and they couldn't revive her.
Oh my! Where was she?
How old?
Yeah.
She was 26, 25, 26.
Odd.
I mean, she had graduated. She joined us. She was one of our best staff members. She was amazing. She was a brilliant dancer. She was like the life of Saul. She was really a part of our team. And, it was horrifying for us when we heard it because we didn't realize this was happening,
Right.
And then the thing is, how do you tell the parents? So they brought the body back in the ambulance and Satya was in female attire. How do we go and tell the parents this is what happened? So luckily the ambulance driver had a lungi. They removed the kurti that she was wearing, the salwar she was wearing, removed the wig and the hair and all that, combed it, made her look like a boy, dressed her up like a boy, and brought her back home.
Oh my God.
And that whole family just descended on Sahodran and blamed us for letting this happen. And she she didn't tell us, she didn't take permission because I was very clear that I didn't want her to do it. And and there was a huge mob inside our center because Satya lived a few streets away from our center. So they knew where our office was.
Her parents didn't know that she was volunteer. I mean, they knew she was working with you, but not aware of the intent that he had to become a woman.
Yeah, because the thing is, Sahodran has the transgender wing of Sahodran is called Tori. Oh. So this is for the gay men. So he used to come and go as a boy. So there was no issue. And the thing is, Satya was an earning member. Would buy stuff for the home, get things, constantly buying things. And they were so happy. And the father was alcoholic, was of no use, just drink, go, auto driver, come back home. And Satya was running the show at home, So when this happened, it was like a complete wake up and they went ballistic. So the staff, the community, everybody got together. We opened an account for the mother in the mother's name because the father we didn't trust. We raised 60,000 rupees and opened a bank account for her. I think even a little more than that. I mean, contributions came from everybody because we all loved Satya. He was literally, such an intrinsic part. Like we had a cultural troupe that used to perform in slums, and we used to create awareness about HIV, various issues. Now we're doing like we do Corona. We were doing HIV in slums and all that.
Right.
So Satya used to be one of the main dancers and performers in the troupe. You know, was brilliant at that and very good at communicating. Was a natural. She was lively. She was fun, and suddenly for her to go it was like a complete blow to the morale of the team. It
Yeah.
was scary. It just shook us up because that's it was it's sacrifices like that that in the that finally the government realized that we were losing very talented individuals, irrelevant whether talented not talented, but in an unnecessary way, in a very
Could have gone
illegal.
differently, right? Had he, do you think so? So tell me, if she had shared it, if he had shared his intent with you and whatever, what would have been the process you would have followed, and it could have turned out very differently, right? Had he shared it or no?
See, the thing is, we were stalling. We were buying time with everybody, saying, hang on, don't rush, take time, because the implications, like Satya needed to face the fact that she was an earning member. Both her sisters were married and gone off, and the parents were dependent on Satya. Father was alcoholic. He was not bringing in any money. So for Satya to do this, what would happen to the family? And immediately, see, the thing is, they would
Why?
turn to the
I'm so. What I'm not clear about, Sunil, is that if had he gone ahead and transitioned, how would this have affected the earning
she
capacity?
wouldn't have been Satya would not been able to live with her parents. She would move out and live with the trans community. That's
Oh,
what they all do. They get excommunicated, they get ostracized, they're forced to leave, they're evicted. They all then live together as a commune. So
okay.
they
That the
so then
whole
what happens?
have
There's a
changed.
disconnect that happens, and then if they meet, it'll be in some public space. Usually what these trans women do is really heartbreaking to see. The mother or one family member would want to meet the sibling or the child, and they would meet in public space, but this person would not be able to go home, go to his village, to his home, wherever, because just the stigma of one. Your net is going slow a bit. Ooh. Call dropped. Oh God, what's happening?